In this video, we're going to focus on simplifying complex fractions. So let's begin. Let's say if we have a fraction divided by a fraction. 7 divided by 3 divided by, let's say, 28 divided by 9. What would you do to simplify this fraction? Perhaps you've heard of the term keep, change, flip. By the way, you can rewrite this expression as 7 over 3 divided by 28 over 9. So using the keep, change, flip principle, keep the first fraction exactly the way it is, change division to multiplication, and flip the second fraction. So now we can multiply across. But it might be easier to cancel before we do that. Nine is basically 3 times 3, and 28 is 7 times 4. So we can cancel a 7, and we can cancel a 3. So the final answer is simply 3 divided by 4. Let's try another example like that. Try this one. 24x divided by 16 divided by 32y over, let's say, 48. So let's rewrite it. 24x divided by 16 divided by 32y over 48. So using the keep, change, flip principle, let's keep the first fraction the same. Let's rewrite it. And then let's change division to multiplication. And let's flip the second fraction. So now before we cancel, let's break down the numbers into smaller numbers. So 16, we can rewrite that as 8 times 2. 24 is 8. Let me write it this way so you don't confuse the times with the x symbol. 24 is 8 times 3, and we have an x variable, multiplied by 48 is basically 8 times 6, and 24 is 8 times 3. So we can cancel the 8 variables, and we can cancel a 3. So what we have left over on the top is 6 times x divided by 2 times y. Now we could simplify this further. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So the final answer is 3x divided by y. This is it. Now what if you have a complex fraction that looks like this? 3 divided by x plus 2 divided by 5 over x. So you don't want to use the keep, change, flip thing. You want to do something else. You want to clear away the mini fractions within the larger fraction. Notice the denominator of these two smaller fractions. It's x. So you want to multiply the top part of the big fraction and the bottom part by x. So now let's distribute. What is x times 3 over x? 3 over x times x is the same as 3 over x times x over 1. The x variables will cancel, and you're just going to get 3. So it's going to be 3, and then x times 2 is 2x. And if we multiply 5 over x times x, the x variables will cancel, and we'll be left with 5. So this is the final answer. 3 plus 2x divided by 5. Now let's try another example. 3 divided by x minus 5 divided by 1 over x plus 2. So go ahead and try this example and simplify. So let's use the same technique as the last example. Let's multiply the top part of the big fraction and the bottom part by x. So x times 3 over x is simply 3. And x times negative 5 is negative 5x. X times 1 over x is 1. And x times 2 is 2x. So that's it. That's how you can simplify a complex fraction. But of course, there are some harder examples, so we'll work on those as well. Try this one. So notice that we have two different terms or variables in the denominators of the smaller fractions, x and y. So the common denominator is xy. So what we need to do is multiply the top part and the bottom part by xy. So what is 3 over y times xy? The y variables will cancel, and you're just going to get 3 times x. Now let's multiply xy by 2 over x. So this time, notice that the x variables cancel, and it's just going to be 2 times y, or 2y. If we multiply xy times 4 over x, the x variables will cancel, giving us 4y. And for the last one, 2 over y times xy, the y's will cancel, and it's just going to be negative 2x. So this is it. It's 4y minus 2x over 3x plus 2y. Let's try this one. 3 divided by xy minus 4 divided by 5 minus 1 over y. So the common denominator between xy and y is simply xy. So let's multiply the top and bottom by xy. So xy times 3 over xy, the xy's will cancel, leaving us with just 3. And then xy times negative 4 is negative 4xy. On the bottom, xy times 5 is 5xy. And 1 over y times xy, the y's will cancel, leaving us with negative x. So this is the answer. But notice that we can factor out an x in the bottom. So we could leave the answer like this if we want. If we take out an x, it's going to be 5y minus 1. So you can report the answer like this if you want to. Try this one. 4 divided by 9 minus 2 over 3 divided by 5 over 3 plus 1 over 9. So to simplify it, the principles are the same. We need to multiply the top and bottom by the common denominator. The common denominator, or the least common multiple of 3 and 9, is 9. So if we multiply 9 times 4 over 9, the 9's will cancel, giving us just 4. And then 9 times 2/3. 9 times 2 is 18. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Or you could divide first. 9 divided by 3 is 3 times 2 is 6. Now let's multiply 9 by 5 over 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3 times 5 is 15. And 9 times 1 over 9 is simply 1. The 9's cancel. So 4 minus 6 is negative 2. 15 plus 1 is 16. We can reduce the fraction by dividing the top and bottom by 2. So the final answer is negative 1 over 8. Now let's try another example, similar to the last one. So what is the least common multiple between 3, 4, and 5? If you're not sure, don't worry about it. Simply multiply the top and bottom by all of those three numbers, 3, 4, and 5. It's going to work out. So if we take these three numbers and multiply by 2 over 3, what's going to happen? So 2 over 3 times 3 times 4 times 5. You could put this over 1 if you want. Notice that the 3's cancel. So then we just got to multiply what survives after that. So 2 times 5 is 10. 10 times 4 is 40. So the first term is going to be 40. Now let's multiply 5 over 4 by the common denominator. So 5 over 4 times 3 times 4 times 5. The 4's will cancel. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 3 is 75. Now let's do the same thing with 3 over 5. Notice that the 5's cancel. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 4 is 36. And for the last one, 1 over 3, the 3's will cancel. 4 times 5 is 20. Now 40 minus 75 is negative 35. 36 plus 20 is 56. And we can't really reduce this particular expression because 35 is just 7 times 5. 56, that's 28 times 2. Actually, we can reduce it. 56 is 7 times 8. So we can cancel a 7. So the final answer is negative 5 over 8. Now what about this one? X minus 5 plus y divided by 4 divided by 3 over x minus 2 over y. So we have a 4, an x, and a y in a denominator. So let's multiply the top and bottom by 4xy. So 4xy times 4, that's going to be 4x squared y. On top, the 4's will cancel. So we're going to have 5 plus y times 4y, which I'm going to write it like this. Since I'm running out of space here. Now 4xy times 3 over x, the x variables will cancel, leaving behind 3 times 4, which is 12, times y. So that's just going to be 12y. Now 4xy times 2 over y, the y's cancel, and then it's just 2 times 4x, which is 8x. So we have 4x squared y minus 4y times 5 plus y divided by 12y minus 8x. Now what would you do at this point in order to simplify this expression? Let's distribute 4y to 5 and y. So 4y times 5 is 20y, but there's a negative sign in front, and negative 4y times y is negative 4y squared. On the bottom, we just have 12y minus 8x. Now let's take out the GCF in the top, the greatest common factor. Notice that we could factor out a 4 and a y. 4x squared y divided by 4y is simply x squared. Negative 20y divided by 4y is negative 5. And negative 4y squared divided by 4y is simply negative y. On the bottom, we could take out a 4. 12y divided by 4 is 3y, and negative 8x divided by 4 is negative 2x. So we can cancel the 4, So this is the final answer. Y divided by x squared minus y minus 5 divided by 3y minus 2x. So this is it. Let's try this one. 3x minus 7 divided by xy divided by 4 over y minus 3 over x. So we can see that the common denominator is xy. So let's simplify it. On top, these two will cancel, and we're just going to get 3x minus 7. On the bottom, xy times 4 over y. The y's will cancel, leaving just behind 4x. And minus, the x will cancel, leaving behind negative 3y. So this is it for this problem. Now, what if you were to see a question that looks like this? What if you had negative exponents? What would you do? X to the minus 1 is simply 1 over x. So 3x to the minus 1 is the same as 3 divided by x. X to the negative 2 is 1 divided by x squared. So we can rewrite the expressions like this. So the common denominator is x squared. If we multiply everything by x squared, we can get rid of all of these smaller fractions. Now let's distribute x squared. So 3 over x times x squared. One of the x variables will cancel, leaving one behind, so that's going to be 3x. If you're not sure about it, see it this way. X squared is basically x times x. So these two cancel, leaving behind 3x. So this is 3x plus, now the entire x squareds will cancel, leaving behind just 1. On the bottom, x squared divided by x is x times 4, so that's going to be 4x. And then these will cancel, leaving behind negative 1. So this is it, 3x plus 1 divided by 4x minus 1. Try this one. So what is the common denominator in this particular problem? So it's x plus 2 and x minus 1. So let's multiply the top and bottom part by those two factors. So now, multiplying 3 over x minus 1 by these two, the x minus 1 factors will cancel, leaving behind 3 times x plus 2. Now, 4 over x plus 2 times these two factors, the x plus 2 factors will cancel, leaving behind 4 times x minus 1. On the bottom, x plus 2 will cancel, leaving behind 7 times x minus 1. And for the last one, the x minus 1 factors will disappear, leaving behind negative 5 times x plus 2. Now let's distribute 3 to x plus 2. So this is going to be 3x, and 3 times 2 is 6. And then 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. On the bottom, 7 times x, and then 7 times negative 1, negative 5 times x, and negative 5 times 2, which is negative 10. So now let's combine like terms. So 3x plus 4x is 7x. And 6 minus 4 is positive 2. On the bottom, 7x minus 5x is 2x. and negative 7 minus 10 is negative 17. So this is it, 7x plus 2 divided by 2x minus 17.